Vanakkam and welcome to ART, அதாவது Avinash Ramachandran Talkies. Thank you for all the support for the channel and the first episode. As a friend often says, Magilchiyum Anbum, which translates to happiness and love. In this episode, we are going to look at my take on the recent Sriram Raghavan film, Merry Christmas, starring Katrina, Vijay Sethupathi, and the city of Mumbai when it was called Bombay. Sriram Raghavan's films are a mood. Sometimes we are ushered in gently as we waltz into the world, and some other times we are thrown into the deep end of the pool and have to figure out a way to come to terms with his universe. Merry Christmas takes its time to get us into the mix of what could be brewing inside the minds of two rank strangers who find themselves in each other's company one Christmas Eve. This is the template of what some of the most iconic rom-coms have in common. There is serendipity, there are the furtive glances, there is alcohol, there is a song and dance routine, there is a lost opportunity to share a kiss, there is an impulsive kiss, there is the right whiff of sexual chemistry, all culminating in a classic case of happily ever after. But then, this is a Sriram Raghavan film, right? Throw in a crime, a cover-up, a convoluted reveal, and a fine powder of Christmas cheer, voila, it's Merry Christmas. Make no mistake, the film starts off with a pace that seems to have been left off in the days of the pre-machine gun era of Indian cinema. When two strangers meet and we're expected to believe they could be made for each other, it is important we are invested in the proceedings. It takes fate, a beer and a bathroom break to bring together the first meeting of Katrina's Maria and Vijay Sethupathi's Albert. They run into each other again at a screening of Pinocchio at the iconic Regal Theatre, and it is surprising how the lens of the ensemble cast's noses remain the same despite their natural inclination towards hiding the truth from each other. There can be no doubt that the protagonists are lying through the skin of their teeth even when giving seemingly simple answers like what do they do for a living and their marital status. But again, why let truth come in the way of a good story when lies allow each and every character of Merry Christmas to be what they truly want to be? But I digress. Yes, the pace takes a hit, but it also allows us to see Vijay and Katrina dance and abandon. It is the equivalent of watching chaos and grace intertwine with each other without imposing on the other. The pace allows us to enjoy the smattering of Tamil that Sethupathi includes in his Hindi. The pace allows Sriram Raghavan to train the camera on Katrina, allowing her to deliver an emotionally heavy monologue without being forced to cut to Sethupathi's responses. So yeah, the pace wasn't actually a problem for yours truly because there is a sense of understated wonder that the pairing of these characters brings to us, even if the chemistry isn't always seamless. Merry Christmas, based on a short story, is essentially about two unlikely people meeting in the most random of ways and yet finding an even more random way to stick with each other through moments of absolute turmoil. When the romantic drama finally enters the crime caper genre, Merry Christmas does pick up the pace, but it is never not a love story, and that is what is truly special about the film. Even when other madcap characters enter the fray, the film is a love story, and love comes in different sizes, shapes and textures. In many ways, Merry Christmas showcases a type of romance that is all-consuming and expansive but sets it within a couple of bedroom house near Kolaba. Sriram Raghavan likes his noir, and there are hat tips to Raymond Chandler, the 1934 film Merry Widow, Shakti Samantha, Dil Diya Dard Liya, Vijay Anand and more. But these are never distracting us from the main plot. The major highlight of Sriram Raghavan's films are the quirky characters that seamlessly find their way into the narrative. Best examples in Merry Christmas are the roles played by Sriram Raghavan regulars like Radhika Apte, Ashwini Kalsekar, Vinay Pathak and Pratima Kazmi. We know why their characters are there in the film, but we never quite guess what they would do. Case in point, Vinay Pathak's police inspector narrating the story of a man-eating tiger and a bear. That scene is wonderfully written, beautifully staged and perfectly executed to give a surprising takeaway. The same holds good for multiple scenes in the film. There is a sweet callback at one point and overstaying the welcome kind of a callback at one other. Of course, not all is merry in Merry Christmas. There is a willing suspension of disbelief that the makers want the audience to have, a leap of faith that we're forced to take in the name of love for the characters and love for the filmmaker. But it is too much of a stretch at times. Even if what we see on screen is a hoot, it is too much of a stretch at times. Some leaps of faith have its roots in the writing and some in the leeway we give. I'll let you be the judge of understanding where your leaps of faith lie in Merry Christmas. Basically, the film is firmly about Vijay Sethupathi and Katrina, and it was very important that they deliver convincing performances. I go back to the dance sequence because it was so beautiful to watch. It is unconventional, it is random, it is haphazard, and yet there was a sense of rhythm to it. What often makes certain casting choices, which might be incredulous to say the least, is the conviction of the filmmaker in seeing these actors in the roles they envisioned. Katrina starts strongly in 2024 with a performance that once again reminds the naysayers that the shtick of relegating her to just a good looking person and not a good actor needs to be thrown out right now. Be it the way she handles the close-ups, which are used graciously by DOP Madhu Neelakantan to give us a sense of who Maria truly is, or the cold calculatedness that is as good as the sudden bouts of descent into madness. Katrina proves Sriram Raghavan made the right choice, and in his first film as the leading hero in Hindi, Vijay Sethupathi gets into the skin of a character that plays to his strengths. It is through the eyes of Sethupathi that the film unravels, and just like how the filmmaker places cards close to his chest, Sethupathi lurks in the shadows for most of the time before bursting into the limelight like a burning swan just in time to deliver his best in a thumping finale that made me go through a roller coaster of emotions. In some investigative thrillers, we take pride in finding out the reveal much before it happens. It is almost like we give ourselves a pat on the back and say, "Wow, you're so smart, aren't you?" In some other films, we are fed nuggets of information to the last moment, and we can never truly take a triumphant backseat thinking, "We've cracked it." In Sriram Raghavan's Merry Christmas, till the proverbial ball drops, there is one rug after another being pulled from under our feet. It's not a sweeping whoosh of a pull, but a gentle nudge or two. For instance, in the final reveal, I knew what was coming and what would be the reason for that reveal to happen at that moment, and still, I was hoping against hope that I would be wrong. I was so invested in the lives of Albert, Maria, and her little daughter Annie that the emotional strength between the characters outweighed my sense of superiority of having cracked the case. And as soon as the curtains were drawn on the mystery, I wanted to re-enter the madcap world, get acquainted with Albert and Maria for the first time all over again, and see them dance, drink, and make merry in this fun, nostalgic ride to a time when Mumbai was called Bombay, and listen to a little birdie tell us that remembrance, like a candle, burns brightest at Christmas time. Thank you for joining me in this episode of ART, Adavadu Avinash Ramachandran Talkies. Do let me know what you thought of Merry Christmas and yours truly's review of the same. Well, see you when I see you, and always remember, life is a revolution.